See, Skip, this right here is what I call a fork in the road. And the Cleveland Browns, they sitting right at the center of it with a GPS signal flickering like the sun's throwing shoulder. Let me tell y'all something about the Cleveland Browns. Every offseason they find a way to give me a headache, and not the kind that Excedrin can fix. No, no, no. This is the kind of organizational migraine that makes you ask, what's the plan, fam? They got a defense that can punch you in the mouth. A head coach, Kevin Stefanski, who's quiet like a librarian but crafty like a chess master. But now, they got a quarterback room looking like a traffic jam on I-90 in a snowstorm. Vets, rookies, and one injured starter all honking for attention. And just when you think things couldn't get messier, boom! Zach Jackson of The Athletic throws gasoline on the bonfire. 3 Browns could be on the trade block. So let's dig into this like it's Thanksgiving dinner. Let's start with the obvious. The QB room. Joe the Fossil Flacco. Now look, I got nothing but respect for Joe Cool. That man went into Cleveland in 2023 and gave that team life when it was flatter than a soda left open for 2 days. But come on now. He's 40. He's slower than a dial-up connection in 2025. And his deep ball still got some pop, but it's like a vintage wine. You better pick your moments. But the Browns ain't building for today. They building for tomorrow. So what do you do with Joe Flacco? Trade him. Yeah, I said it. If you got a 40-year-old quarterback taking snaps away from a top draft pick, you not developing, you babysitting. Uncle Shay, only problem. Ain't nobody banging down the Browns' door for Flacco. Unless somebody's QB goes down in camp. That's what we call the Nick Foles effect. A team gets desperate, and suddenly Flacco's worth a 6th-round pick again. Kenny, mystery box Pickett. Oh, Kenny, listen, this man was supposed to be Pittsburgh's heir to Big Ben. What happened? Inconsistent footwork, shaky deep ball, and a habit of holding the ball like it's a winning lottery ticket. He's scared to cash. I ain't saying he can't be good, but the Browns didn't trade for him to maybe be QB2. They traded for him because they didn't know if DeZorn would be upright this year. But guess what? Now they got Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel in the room. 2 rookies with upside, and you ain't gonna sit them behind Flacco and Pickett for long. Somebody got to go. And Pickett, he like them mystery boxes you buy on TikTok. Could be gold, could be garbage, but you paid $19.99 and now you stuck with it. Shannon Sharpe, he's the likeliest trade candidate if somebody believes in a reclamation project. Maybe Sean Payton in Denver. Maybe Arthur Smith in Pittsburgh too, with the Steelers finally letting him go. Either way, don't expect more than a day 3 pick. Now let's talk about the 2 rookie QBs. You don't bring in Coach Prime's kid unless you think he's got something. Shedeur got the poise, the processing, and the pedigree. I seen him throw dots with folks in his face like he ordered pressure off Uber Eats. That boy got talent. And Dillon Gabriel? He like a spark plug. Quick reads, mobile, accurate. Maybe not your day 1 starter, but a solid developmental piece. The Browns might look at this like a 49ers situation. You got 2 rookies, let 'em compete, let 'em grow. But that means you got no room for Pickett or Flacco if Deshaun Watson somehow returns healthy mid-season. Now, I hate to say it, but this entire house of cards rests on one shoulder. Deshaun's, the man is making more money than some countries' GDP, but his arm been acting like it's still on vacation. Nobody knows when he's coming back, or what version you gonna get. That's why the Browns hedged. They brought in Flacco, traded for Pickett, drafted 2 rookies, but now you sitting there with a quarterback hoarding problem. You can't keep 4 QBs on the active roster unless you're rebuilding or confused. And this team is too talented to be confused. Now let's pivot to the third trade candidate. Greg Newsome too. Look here. Greg Newsome is a dog. He been steady in that secondary. And when he's healthy, he's top 20 at corner. But you know what the NFL loves? Cheap young corners. And you know what they hate? Paying that second contract unless the guy's elite. Newsome's contract is up after 2025. If the Browns don't extend him soon, they risking losing him for nothing. No compete, no trade value, just out the door. And I hear you're, why trade a starter at a premium position? Because this is how the salary cap works, baby. You can pay everybody. If Myles Garrett getting a Brinks truck and DeSaun getting a yacht, somebody else gotta take the bus. Shannon Sharpe, if you can flip Newsome for a second or even third-round pick before the deadline, you consider it. Especially if Martin Emerson and Denzel Ward hold it down. Now let me get real with you for a minute. All these moves, they don't exist in a vacuum. Andrew Berry, the GM, he's a chess player. Quiet, calculated. And Kevin Stefanski, man's on the hot seat no matter what he says in press conferences. So what are they trying to do? By time, they hedging their bets. Developing rookies, managing cap, and hoping DeSaun pulls a 2020 reboot. That's why you draft quarterbacks and bring in vets. That's why you trade depth pieces like Ogbo. That's why you consider moving Newsome. Because 2025 ain't just about this year. It's about keeping your job next year too. Let me paint a picture for you. Deshaun Watson comes back in week 6, looking like 2020 Deshaun. Shedeur Sanders shines in camp, becomes QB2. Dillon Gabriel stashes on the practice squad, or holds QB3. Kenny Pickett gets traded to a desperate team after a camp injury. Rams, Raiders, Joe Flacco retires gracefully, maybe joins CBS or the Browns coaching staff. Greg Newsome plays lights out, helps the defense dominate, then gets flipped at the deadline for a second rounder. Now that's how you build for today and tomorrow. Now let's flip it. Watson's shoulder don't heal. Flacco starts, but the magic runs out after 2 games. Pickett looks like 2023 Pickett, scared to throw over the middle. Shedeur and Gabriel struggle, and you stuck rotating quarterbacks like musical chairs. Newsome gets injured, and you get nothing in return. Myles Garrett gets frustrated. Defense carries a lifeless offense. That's how jobs get lost. You want my take? Trade Flacco by August. Shop Pickett in September. Flip Newsome in October. And pray DeSaun don't need another MRI November. Shay's blueprint. You can't hold on to everybody, and you can't pretend this team has the luxury of waiting. The AFC North is a dogfight. Burrow's back. Lamar's reloaded. And Mike Tomlin's still walking on water with that Pittsburgh team. If the Browns want to compete now and have hope for the future, these 3 moves: Flacco, Pickett, Newsome. They ain't just possible. They necessary. So there you have it. The Cleveland Browns, they got a full house. But the rent's due. It's time to make decisions. And not the sentimental kind. I love Joe. I respect Kenny. I admire Greg. But the NFL don't care about feelings. They care about wins. And if the Browns want to stack 'em, they better pick up the phone and start dealing. Skip, the Browns better treat this off-season like a garage sale. Price it right, sell it quick, and don't look back.